Good morning or
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Coffee Chat.
I literally just forgot what day it was whenever you hesitated before saying Wednesday.
Oh man, it could be any day, really.
Welcome to the day after yesterday.
Yeah,
We're here today.
the day before tomorrow.
It is the day before tomorrow. That's so crazy how that works out.
Every time.
Every time.
Okay, so we have a special surprise for you guys today. We didn't even announce it. We were just talking about that before we became live. It was like, yeah, surprise. Like, oh, we're just doing this because we love spontaneity or because we just aren't prepared. I mean, it's one or the other.
No, it's both. Literally both.
I like to say we're victims of spontaneity, or at least I am.
I am actively the victimizer of spontaneity.
Okay. So we have a special guest, and actually we have been talking about getting guests on a little more regularly. The two of us, we have a great time just chatting it up, but why not? More the merrier, right? And another thing that I'm not on top of is like getting the ball rolling on that. Like,
Sure.
You have to invite people for them to, come on. It takes time and work and, not spontaneity. But we managed to secure a special guest today.
We did it.
And
it's happening.
It is happening. And it is Amy from the Angel's Journey. I'm going to go ahead. She is alive.
Let me see if I can get some.
Yeah, come on. We need the fireworks. There you go. It doesn't work for me. I don't know why. Lindsay is and I went through all of the settings trying to find and like Googled and what do you Google? Like crazy graphics in Restream. Turn on
gestures for Restream. Fanciness.
Yeah. And I
or maybe it's gestures for Restream effects.
Yeah. Well, I searched all of the words. Uh-oh, Lindsay's gone. Okay, we don't have to troubleshoot it right now. But Amy is back. She did
who's back?
A live stream yesterday. I still haven't gone back and watched the replay. I was out and about when you were on live and I missed it. And so, I mean, obviously everyone in the chat was there and watched it with you, but in case they didn't, give us a rundown of like where you've been and how life has been. How long has it been even? I was trying to remember, like how many months?
Let me look. Let me go look and see. Like way too long.
Do it.
Like way too long. Let me see. Oh. Wait.
Okay, Chris Bear has all the answers.
Well, Nili, aren't you on a MacBook?
I'm on a MacBook. Are you on a Mac? Are you on a tablet or a?
I'm on an iPad, so iOS, but Mac runs iOS too. So
maybe it's the tablet versus the laptop. I don't know.
Possibly.
Chris, is it the tablet versus the laptop?
Nerd, weigh in.
But nerds do come in handy sometimes.
They're super useful.
I like nerds. It says July 2nd.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Half a year.
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Technology still hates me. Like it still does.
What are you gonna do?
I tried to go live yesterday and it kicked me off at like 25 seconds or something.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that one. I was like, oh, it's happening. And I went to go click onto it. And then all of a sudden it was done. And I was like, what just happened?
Exactly. So yes, I'm home today. And guess what? I have fiber optics now.
Ooh.
I know.
Fiber optics soon. They've been doing all the work and we're really looking forward to it.
Well, what's funny is that they came to install it and they were working in the house for like an hour and a half or something like that. And he walks in, he goes, it's going to take us a few more minutes because they didn't splice it in down at the road.
Ooh.
And it was like snowing and maybe at that time it was like 20 whole degrees. So heat wave. But yeah, it was very interesting. So it took him like 4.5 hours to, and he goes, "You're the first one, I swear. So we're working out all the kinks on you. I'm sorry." He's like, "We made you wait long enough." So I actually have fiber now.
That's so
exciting.
exciting. I have
That
no
is
clue what we have. That's outside of my pay grade.
Yes.
Yep.
No, we're supposed to be getting it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much better it is, because apparently it's better. So
It really is. Well, our price point stayed the same, but we went from 30 megabytes per second download to 450. And then the upload went from 1.5 to 450.
Wow.
So it shouldn't take
banana
me.
sandwich.
You're back on YouTube.
I know,
now
right?
it shouldn't take you 12 hours to upload a video.
Or 12 hours to fail to upload a video. And then you have to drive to the library the next day and try to do it there. Yeah, that was always fun. That was one of the mega issues.
Yes. Well, we have gotten lots of questions, both individually and together on our live streams. Like, how is Amy? Where is Amy? We missed
Is she
Amy.
alive?
Is she even alive? And we every time we're like, it's fine.
She's
like
totally great,
for
guys.
good reasons. It's nothing terrible. She's living her best life. So like, how has
She's
your
actually
life
colonizing Mars?
months?
I know. I'm gonna colonize Mars next. That's
She's
the
actually
plan.
colonizing Mars.
Oh yeah, and curing cancer, on the side.
Exactly.
All at once.
All at the same time. And you guys are gonna be my first visitors to Mars.
That sounds great right now.
Okay, Chris can come after that.
For another planet.
True story. So everything is fantastic with us. I did take a break, a 6-month break apparently, for my family. The reason I ended up stopping, I was putting so much effort and attention into YouTube. I was loving it. I was having fun, but then I also felt this pull, like I had to do it. And my kids were starting to really suffer. And I found pictures all over the house that were hand-drawn by Bella, and it was just broken hearts. There was broken heart pictures. Like I would find them random places. And so I asked her, I said, "Why do you have a broken heart?" And she started crying. She goes, "Because you don't have time for us anymore." And my husband had already been saying for, I want to say, probably a solid 3 months, you don't need to keep doing this. Like, I make enough money for you to stop doing this. Because he could see that I was going down, like my patience was going down. The house was clean and it was taken care of, but not in the way that it should have been. So I backed off and I made my family my top priority. And I truly am so grateful that I did it, because now I'm the mom that I want to be. I'm the wife that I want to be. Our house right now, it's a disaster. And that's because for the past 3 weeks, we've been having fun. We have been playing and attempting to beat the freezing cold and snuggling up on the couch together underneath comforters and watching TV. And that's what it should be. And so I'm super happy that I took the break. I'm going to start doing lives to start back up again, because I do kind of want to share how everything is going, what's going on with me, but I don't want to get back into that rut of I want to edit this perfectly. I want it to look really good. And so I spend 6 hours editing instead of 6 hours on the couch, teaching my children, being with my girls, that kind of stuff. So I'm semi back.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. And I mean, I think anyone who's been a YouTuber or is a YouTuber can identify with that, trying to find the balance, because it doesn't ever seem to be exactly right. Like, there's always more that needs to be done that doesn't get done, either on the YouTube side or on the family side or the real life side. And so I commend you for just putting your foot down and being like, no, we need to stop. It's similar to, we always relate things back to diet, but it's similar to if you're, in a bad place with your diet, sometimes you do have to just cut it off. And we want to be able to say, I'm just going to start moderating. Like, I'm going to go from, in an unhealthy mental space to moderation. And sometimes, a lot of times, that doesn't work out exactly. So the approach of just saying, no, I'm just done. like no question, just done. And then, you know, if you do get to that point of, you know, back into rhythm with your family and, you know, things are good, and then see, okay, maybe I can add a little bit of this back and see how it goes. Like, I think that's great. Lindsay and I have talked many times about the struggle of trying to find that balance with because when we're moms, it's like I could spend all of my day every day just being a mom and I would be busy, you know? Or I could spend all of my day just working on the farm and I would be busy. I could do all day working on YouTube and I would be busy. It's like so many full-time jobs that you have to juggle, and it's not easy. I wish I had an answer, like the answer for it, but I sure do not. Do you have the answer for it, Lindsay?
I don't, because you used the word moderate, and then all of a sudden I just like checked out.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Oh.
I don't have that. I was actually thinking through this thing though, like even though I'm not a moderator, I want to purpose to attempt to grow that skill set, because I don't know that it is just a like you either are or are not. You know, it's like hair color. You don't get to choose your hair color. It is what it is. And so I've kind of approached the whole like being an extremist. So it's either like I'm all in on YouTube, and then the teeter-totter gets out of whack, and then I'm like all out, and then it's out of whack. And so it's like, like that's just the way my nature is. But I could purpose to attempt to find like a little equilibrium, like a little bit, like, and it's fun to do a teeter-totter whenever you've got the up and the down, right? Like that's the fun of it. But also it can make you a little sick. So finding it to be like more like this instead of this might work out better. Yeah, but no, I don't have answers.
I like that idea of like practicing moderation. Because there is sort of a victim mentality when you talk about the moderation versus abstainer, and a lot of things related to diet, where it's like that's just how I am, and that's it's similar what I've gone through recently with exercise. Like I'm just not an exerciser. Like I don't naturally want to do it and I don't enjoy it.
Right.
But there is something called discipline where you can, put the work in and you discipline yourself to do something you don't want to do and actually change the kind of person you are. Like,
yeah,
you change everything, obviously, but there are ways that you can grow and adapt and change. And it just takes work. It takes getting uncomfortable. And
it's no different than any skill. Like if we stopped approaching things as like either I am born this way or I'm not, and we approached things as skill sets to be developed, I think that tweak in our minds just to begin with can really send us on a trajectory of growth instead of not. And just like resting comfortably in our self, perceived actual, I don't know, just the way we perceive ourselves.
Yes. I was talking on a video a few weeks ago towards the beginning of the year about sorry. About how if I were to just do what I feel like I want to do, as far as, my eating choices, my exercise choices, if I always were to just follow my body or follow my feelings, I will not have the life that I want.
Yeah.
It is required that you go out of your comfort zone and are uncomfortable in order to have the life that you really want. It doesn't come through indulgence. Nice.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Like just indulging your feelings can lead to spinning your wheels in mud. You're not getting anywhere. You're doing something. You're not getting anywhere.
Yes. Low carb spin is in the chat. So good
Hi,
to see y'all. I did their cracker recipe on a video a while back, and it was so good. I need to make more. They're so good.
I was thinking about that. The fact that, like, I mean, we've mentioned this 100,000 times, but I sit there and I scroll Pinterest as my boredom buster, which I don't scroll all over, Instagram or anything like that anymore. And as a boredom buster, I will scroll through Pinterest and I notice like this dip and this dip and this dip. And keto does dips and spreads beautifully. Having the vehicle upon which you can transfer it to your face. That's where it's lacking. And low carb spin has some rock solid
really
ideas.
Socially acceptable just to eat it with a spoon either. So. All right. Your husband is telling the truth about you.
Yeah.
Sharing all your secrets here.
Listen, it's not a secret. It's reality.
Okay. So Lindsay and I could talk, like we do every week for an hour, but Amy is here and I want to hear.
Amy is here. I'm sorry.
It's so easy for us to just start going. Okay. So as far as your health taking this break, did you see, like, I want to know what you saw as far as your health and if that was benefited as well. I mean, I can't imagine it wasn't, but I'd love to hear, like, catch us up on all of the stuff.
So it's still quite the journey.
Yeah.
It's not, always. I've just decided it's never going to be gone. Like, it's just not, it's never going to be over. So I took a break from doing keto and carnivore for a bunch of reasons. The main reason being I could not balance my electrolytes. I could not balance them at all. It was the leg cramps in the middle of the night and I would jump up, and just have extreme leg cramps. It was starting to turn into heart palpitations.
Oof.
And I tried, you could give me every single variation of, did you try just this? Did you try just this? Did you try these two in combination? Did you try this? I tried everything. I tried unflavored. I tried unsweetened. I tried everything. Nothing was working. And I was
Did you try getting one of those salt licks from the Tractor Supply for the horses and just licking that twice a day?
Actually, you know that Redmond's makes a salt lick for animals, right? Yes. It's literally the same thing. Okay, you're going to laugh, but I went as far as licking the Himalayan pink salt lamps.
Oh,
because
wow.
I was like, maybe there's something else about, like, literally it was insane. My girls brought it. They were like, try this. And I was like, I am desperate. Wipe it off first,
let's see what we can get mom to do.
So I tried everything. And I would be laying in bed at night and my heart would start skipping beats. And then, and I've gone through this before. I actually had a heart ablation done because I was skipping. There was this one spot in my heart that kept like twitching, and then it would cause one of the chambers to like fault out. And so I would drop down to 33 beats a minute and then I would pass out. And so they ended up doing a heart ablation. That was 10, 15 years ago. I don't even remember. Long time ago. So I've already been there, done that. And it started to come back again. And from everything that I've learned, carbs retain electrolytes because carbs retain water. And I went, well, you know what? I am desperate. I'm to the point where I need to allow my body to try to balance itself because I've tried all the outside stimuli. I have tried the exercise. I've tried the cold plunge. I've tried everything. Nothing is working. And it was getting to the point where it was getting dangerous. That was the main reason that I switched away from that. But I also realized that it had kind of become my idol. I was more focused on my food than I was focused about anything else.
Yeah.
And it was getting to the point where I was like, okay, I have to give this up. I got to give this back to God. I got to be like, okay, here you go. You do with it what you will. So I went back on some carbs. I tried rice because Sally Norton, the oxalate queen of the world, she's like, rice is what sustains her. She does fantastic on that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try rice. Tried rice, did rice for a while, actually felt really good, but then started getting some other side effects. And I'm like, okay, this is new. So it's like my body needed the balance and it got it. And now it wants me to move away from that. So now I'm trying to figure out what I can and what I can't eat. And it's been really interesting. It's so ridiculous. And I'm getting super sensitive to all things meat at this point in time. So now the current plan is I'm going to go get tested to see what food sensitivities I have. Because I literally don't know what else to do. I'm trying little things, and then one day I'll eat it one day and I will have no reaction and I'll sleep wonderfully. And I'm like, this is it. I eat it the next day.
Yeah.
And all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
It's insane. So and I know that the food sensitivity tests are only like 80% accurate.
Right.
But at this point in time, I feel like that's better than my shot in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, and where I'm at that. I broke.
Well, I think that's a really wise choice. I am not one to say that keto or carnivore is like the answer for everyone, and no one was ever meant to eat a gram of sugar in their life. You know, like I don't personally believe that. And I do think that there are situations where they can be helpful. And it's like, I remember when we were at KetoCon and we saw Jonathan Shane's talk. That was the first
Wasn't
time.
that a great happenstance to like stumble into that talk?
Yeah. And that was the first time we had been, I mean, there was no reason why we're not endurance ultra marathoners. Like, why did we go to his talk? But it turned out to be just perfect. And he was bold enough in the keto conference, the biggest keto conference, to say, sometimes people need carbs. It's like, yes, hallelujah. And it's like, you know, people want to be like, well, I have diabetes, and when I eat carbs, it does this, this, and this.
Yeah, but one individual's experience. Yeah, one individual's experience shouldn't.
But that doesn't mean that everyone shouldn't for all time.
Yeah,
I do think that they can be helpful for different people in different seasons of life, and so I think that's totally fine. And you're still in the club. You can still be in the club.
Well, it was funny. I was watching your last Wellness Wednesday update that you put out. You're like, I don't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And I was like, that's it. Like, I added carbs 6 months ago. And I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to make anyone else stumble. I didn't want to make them go, well, see, she's doing it, so I'm going to do it too. And then it made me realize that I can't carry that. I cannot carry everyone else's responsibility. Like, and we talk about this all the time. This is not medical advice. You need to decide what's going to work for you. You need to be responsible for your own choices, all the XYZs. But I also wanted to make sure that I did it in a good way, where I was like, you know, these are my reasons. Because if I just say I went back to carbs, most people would probably, you know, have a conniption fit. But if I preface it with, well, my heart was about to stop.
Yeah.
So
and it's not like going back to carbs. Like, when people hear that, they're like, oh, you started going through the McDonald's drive-through and eating donuts for breakfast and like back to the indulgence of the standard American diet. And it's like, no, there are different ways to, just like there's different ways to do keto, there's different ways to do carnivore. There are different ways to add back in carbs as well. And there's good ways and there's bad ways. So yeah.
So right now I'm cycling right now. I'm actually cycling the carbs back out because we're in the middle of winter. Like, there's not a whole lot of carbs that we as humans would be eating if we didn't live in the lifestyle that we live in now in the middle of winter. It would be grains that we've stored. I can't do grains. Like, I just can't do the grains right now. So it's going to be mostly meat and some like veggies, carrots. I'll keep in like carrots. Yeah, that I'm not going to do that. So right now I'm going back more of a low carb, almost keto, really, really almost keto, but I did it really slowly this time. Like, over the past month, I have very slowly kind of been reducing my carbs because I don't want all my hair to fall out again. Because when I went keto, it fell out. And then when I went carnivore, more fell out. I'm like, let's just keep what I still have. So I went super slowly. And now, like, yesterday was a fully keto day. Today, maybe a fully carnivore day. because I ate a lot of veggies yesterday and they just don't sound good at all today. So I'm just going to kind of go with what it feels like, what it seems to be the best fit. The other fun thing, sorry guys, I'm pretty sure I'm starting menopause. And I'm only 43, but I had a partial hysterectomy at 34. And apparently that can like jumpstart it. So now I'm dealing with all of that as well. And I love everyone's answer as always, cut carbs and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Have you tried going carnivore?
Right. I would love to share.
Have you tried the lion diet?
Yes.
Have you tried adding liver?
Exactly. I have a dear friend who's done lion diet, who's done all of these things, strict carnivore for like 2 some odd years, 2, 3, 4, I don't even remember, a lot of years. Doesn't work. Does not touch the hot flashes and the night sweats. Absolutely does not. The only thing that's worked for her, dry fasting. I'm not going there. I'm sorry. I just know I'm good.
Yeah.
So
it's like hot flashes sounded better.
Seriously. Yeah. So it's a new thing that I need to learn how to navigate.
Oh yeah. Have you done the sardine?
Did you try the sardine fast?
Yeah, I did. I did it all.
The butter fast?
I did the butter fast. The butter fast was fun. My bathroom was never cleaner because I literally just sat in there and like cleaned everything that I could reach until I was done. And then I got up and 15 minutes later, I was back again. So yes, I did the butter fast.
So that's so precious.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to retract my previous question because I wish I didn't know that.
Okay. Also, my children will warn you, don't ask me something you don't want me to answer.
I mean, like, I wanted you to answer it as a joke.
My bathroom has never been cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's all there is.
Yeah. It's a journey. It's tricky. It's like, and like, I'm right there. And you watched my video of like, I don't have the answers for myself. I definitely don't have the answers for all of the people watching, but I'm still sharing because why not? It's like, come along on the journey, on the ride. Maybe we'll learn something along the way. Maybe not. I honestly am not sure at this point, but it's like, it is what it is. Like, I wish I was one of those channels that has all the answers and just comes on and shares my wisdom with the world. But sadly, I am not.
I think though, the value add of saying, here's my experience is that here is just one way. And if you happen to like click with parts A and parts J, but you don't click with any of the other parts, that's totally great. But here's my data point. And what's funny is I was listening to Chris and Miriam's live stream from last night, and Chris said something that I was like, I have to actually write that down. Like, I actually wrote down a statement from Chris, and I don't know if he created this himself or if he found it elsewhere, but I'm going to credit him because he's who I heard it from. He said the plural of anecdote is data. And I was like,
wow.
I like it.
Brilliant.
Because if you have enough anecdotes, eventually it becomes statistical information. And it's just like your anecdote has purpose in that if someone else who has had similar symptoms happens to try similar things, you've got 2 people that can be plotted in that chart. And it's just like, to me, I was nerding out a little bit. I actually did write that down. So
yeah, that needs to be on a t-shirt, bumper sticker. Like, that's brilliant.
I mean, and you look at a lot of these people who are like, well, there's no white paper data on, or white paper studies on X, Y, and Z. But then whenever you were like, but I've also heard about 1,500 different stories, and they all seem to be saying something in the same line of you know, the same topic or the same experience. And so clearly there's something here. It's not just a figment of their imagination.
Yeah. And I think the other value in us sharing our journeys, even though it's maddening and we don't have the answers, is that other people can relate. Because if all that's on YouTube is people saying, if you do this, these results will happen. And you're like sitting here doing the things that you're told and not getting the results that you're promised. And you're like, what's wrong with me? I'm broken. I'm the only one that can't figure this out. It's so easy for all of these people, these experts that are sitting here telling us that, you know, I did this and it had this effect. And if you do this, it will have the same effect for you. And it's like, if I can be the voice of just like camaraderie with people,
Yes.
you're not alone. Like there are so many people that are spinning their wheels and struggling, trying to figure out what's wrong with them, and that all the things that are put out there are not working for them the way that they are supposed to, or getting to the end result that is promised. And so it's like, you're not crazy. You're not the only one. We're in this together, and we may not ever fully get it figured out, but we probably can make some steps in the right direction, and we can at least have fun along the way. Like that's my hope.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point I got to. I used to actually say, man, you know, I have to share this. And people would tell me, you got to share your story because you could help so many people. And then I was like, but it's not because it's a magic answer. It's not the magic pill. What became more valuable about my story was that I am that 3% that it doesn't work for.
Yeah.
And I used to get so upset, and I would talk to my husband and I'd be like, I just wish that it would work. I just wish that if I went carnivore, I did exactly what they said and it didn't work. And I just wish that it had. And his response, he was like, I'm glad it didn't. He goes, because then how many other people are like you and they feel so alone? And he's like, you're the one that's out there saying, you know what, you're not alone. And so now I'm grateful to be the 3%. Is it fun? Not always.
Yeah.
You know, and Nili, you can't figure your iron stuff out. Like, how frustrating. It's so frustrating. And yet I know that there's a good reason. And I know that there's people that have so many other things that, like, there was a comment a little while ago, I think it might've been Chris. You mean that sardines won't hold off surgery? I wish they would. How amazing would that be? Lick your Himalayan salt lamp and munch on a can of sardines and you're all fixed. You know, it's fantastic. But so I'm trying to teach my kids to always find the good in everything. And so I'm trying to live by that same thing when it comes to my diet, my lifestyle. Everything is, there's got to be good reasons. And so now it's time for me to get back to sharing about exactly there's the comment. But I got to get back to that, to sharing that more of the dark side of what didn't work, you know, the heart palpitations and all of those, because I think that there's probably more people that have those than I realize, and they probably need to hear it.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's probably more than 3%. Like
Probably.
and the people, the 97%, it's like, you know, I don't know. I probably shouldn't say that. I shouldn't get myself
Strike that, reverse. Never mind.
No, speaking of getting people in trouble, is Jared getting himself in trouble here?
I was curious.
So he's referring to the fact that I shed a lot of hair.
Oh,
okay. Oh, do you leave hieroglyphics on the side?
No,
of the
I don't.
shower?
I collect all the hair in one spot and then I throw it all away every shower. But I've always, since the time that I was born, have had hair. All of it. All of the hair has always been there. And whenever I was a kid, I would have tons of hair fall out. I've always lost, you know, hundreds of strands per day. And to the point where I thought I had a thyroid issue. But the reality is, like, my hair, it's not any thinner than it was when I was a teenager or when my hormones were at their peak. I have all of the hair, all of it.
I'm so just
like my
mine
body
was
says
very similar when I was young too. I would lose a ton, but it was still super thick. And then at some point it stopped coming back.
Sure. Yeah, mine is not stopped. And I don't know when it will, but I'm gonna keep cleaning it up for
what you're saying is no, it is not keto.
No, that's just genetics. That's genetics.
And like Chris says, Jared, you're going to get put in a timeout. Seriously.
Nah, I'll let him just roast in that one. He's just
Uh,
gonna sit in that little oven, hanging out. See
Yeah,
how
my
crispy he
girls-
can get.
My girls are always leaving hieroglyphics, so I'll walk in and I'll try to like decipher what they're. It's like clouds. You know, you go outside, you try to find the shapes in the clouds. I come in and I try to find, because Verenia's got hair down in the middle of her back. She's 18, and then Cassidy has hair down to her butt, and she's 12. So there's a lot of hair in this house. Bella has tons of hair, but we've shortened it because hers is like really
Management.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like really hard to get knots out of it, so we kind of shortened it a little bit. But I'll walk in and I'll come out of the bathroom and I'll go, so you're telling me that the duck ate the flower? And they were like, what? And I'm like, it's in the bathroom on the wall. So I take them in there and they're like, sorry, and they'll clean their hair off the wall. So that's a common thing in our house.
Oh, yes, it is a common thing in our house as well. And there is a lot of hair in our house.
Well,
I
and
mean,
I tell you what's
Not
hard.
primarily the dog.
Well, the hardest part is the fact that I know that my husband's hair sheds as well.
Right.
It's just like a lot less noticeable because it's this long
Yes.
instead of this long or
Yes.
this long. And so it's like it's disproportionately fair.
Exactly.
And that's to say it's not.
Dustin says it's frustrating when people wave off thousands of anecdotal data. Yes.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah. And it's frustrating that we don't have like data on keto and carnivore and all that stuff.
Data.
But it's like there's a lot of anecdotes out there too. Like they mean something. It's not
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Wise
We have
choices in hair
Lots of people in the
management.
chat over here that we're completely ignoring.
How very dare we?
I know, seriously.
I'm gonna let
Cindy
you say
is
hi to
here.
them all so I don't jump in.
Uncle Big Guy is here. Karen is here. Jason is here from Just Jason Keto and more. Let's see. Rickwin is here. Rickwin says, even with our N=1 journeys to heal some of our problems, it's important that we have a community where we can talk about things and listen to others. Absolutely. Totally agree. Because that feeling of like, I'm crazy or I'm broken or it's only me, that can really be defeating.
And then there's people like me who are like, hey, it's just me. I am special.
Well, we're all special in our own special way, but then we're also all very similar in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. It's all in how you look at it, right?
Yes. Okay, Dustin says we're building a community where all our stories, successes, failures are so important to those involved because we are not alone. Absolutely. Being able to bounce things off of each other is really helpful. Yes, I totally agree.
It's really helpful to be able to sit there and recommend things or suggest things, as long as everybody has the attitude, like the heart attitude of, I'm just offering a suggestion and I'm not going to demand somebody tries my suggestion, that kind of a thing. Because sometimes it can be like you're just trying to tell me what to do. And now thumbs up. I gave myself a thumbs up there because I liked what I said. Again.
Amazing. Well, earlier in the chat, Chris said that
Is it going to give me both?
Mac OS is not the same as iOS or OIS.
Yeah,
whatever.
he did say that.
Anyways, so that's why. Apparently now we have the
It is
answer. It's
too.
because I'm on a laptop and not on a phone or tablet. I'm not special enough with my laptop. Sophia says the people for whom carnivore doesn't work are not necessarily shouting it from the rooftops. They're just moving on, so the number is not evident. I totally
That is so
agree with
valid.
that. It is so true. Because there are clearly people for whom it works brilliantly, and it is the answer, and their lives have never been better. Like there's no question. But like Sophia said, the people that try it and that it doesn't end up working out for, they just do something else and they don't become famous and we don't hear them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, because I think about the original zero carb group, Kelly Hogan and Lisa Wiedemann and all those. I mean, people that those are the ones
Long-term
that clearly
carnivore.
it's working for, and it's like
Yeah.
the absolute right choice for. And I think about that group, and that group is pointed to like, see, these long-term carnivores, it is, if you just do what they do, this is what, you know, the result is, and it is sustainable and all of that. But I think, like, how many people went in and out of that group over however many years? I mean, it's not like everyone who started it back then continued it, and they're still doing it. It's like I'm sure there's been a revolving door of people who tried it and didn't continue, and we just don't hear those people. So that's why we're out here sharing our journeys, so that everyone knows that they're not alone. Like, it's not a one answer fixes everything.
Right.
If one answer
Not the
does
one
fix
ring.
everything for you, we're all jealous. All right. Yeah, I'd never heard hieroglyphics before either, and that's brilliant. I'm going to use that. Let's see. Don't get mad at Jared just because he made a wise choice in hair management.
Your definition of wise sounds suspect.
Wise as in we'll just tell Miriam to go make some wise hair management choices and see what you think about that.
I mean, like, this Halloween was as short as I go on the hair. Like, I'm sitting here lamenting the fact that it's not about 3 to 4 inches longer. And once it's there, that's where we're gonna hang it. It's just gonna sit right there.
Yes. Surveys show that 100% of people enjoy taking surveys.
So it must be true.
Yeah, that means everyone does.
So the whole like group of people who have decided to go carnivore, like, they jump on that bandwagon and they hang it for as long as they possibly can until they're, you know, finally bounced off. And then they bolt, and then a new wave of people come in and do it for as long as they possibly can. And I think that's the truth, regardless of dietary selection, whether you choose to go the vegan route or the vegetarian route or whatever the case may be. And it's tricky whenever you sit there and say, well, because it's accurate for this small subset of people, it must be true for all. And we've had this conversation in the past about how we don't necessarily want to boil ourselves down to a single type of food, full stop. Like, Lion diet, just beef and salt and water. Like, I don't feel like my life would, my physical body might be in perfected condition, but my personality would cease to exist. My feelings would be really bad. I would not be able to have relationship with the people in my life that I want to have relationship with. It would just be socially detrimental. And I also am not sitting in a position where I have major health complications to overcome. Yes. I am just like average everyday mom, average everyday woman who is not quite 40, not experiencing any menopausal issues, not experiencing like any of these health concerns whatsoever. I'm just trying to find my spot in it, or find like where I land in be healthy and have good relationships with your people. Like, that's about the only thing I have to offer. And I've been holding on to that since January of 2016. So I feel like I could say like I'm a long-term person following a keto-friendly way of life, and it's sustainable. And people talk about, oh, that's not sustainable, but carnivore is sustainable. Veganism is sustainable. Like, and I'm an extremist, and here I am sitting kind of like, you know, if you've got the two extremes of vegan and carnivore. No, I liked vegan over here better. And carnivore over here. Like, I'm not even over here. I'm like right over here. I'm like, I'm not that far from the middle. Yeah. But, and yet that is sustainable. I don't know how these guys are sustainable long-term. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so for me, I've shared pretty similar views on it. Like it wouldn't be fun. It would be difficult socially. Like there's so many reasons why, and it maybe puts your body into a place where you get rid of all the gut biome to handle anything else besides.
Yeah.
Like those are all valid concerns. With the health issues that I'm dealing with, like I mentioned in my Wellness Wednesday video, like I would consider going carnivore as an experiment to see if I could raise my ferritin. Like, it would be, an experiment. It would be a, whatever amount of time, a couple months, 3 months or whatever. And if it did, that might give me the motivation to do it. Like, because I've been told to go carnivore, so many times, which I have gone carnivore. I've gone carnivore for 3 months at a time. But I'm told
Not
so many
long
times,
enough.
just go
It's never
carnivore,
long
it'll
enough.
fix that. Right. I know 5 years, 10 years is even better.
I'm gonna need at least 3 decades before you
Yes,
can tell me it didn't work.
exactly. Um, so like I would consider doing it. Like I'm not, saying that it's not a valid tool. I think it's a very valid tool that a lot of people can get a lot of insight from, but you have to have a good reason to do it. And so for me, like if I have, gone through this whole year and a half of all of these experiments and like just, failed miserably on all of them, like that's going to give me motivation to do it if I do end up doing it. If I, just that was the first thing I tried, I probably would not have stuck with it. Like you for something as extreme as carnivore, and I do think carnivore is extreme. There are people that think it's not, that that's just the natural way that you're supposed to eat. I think it's extreme, especially in the society that we live in. So to do something that extreme, you have to be motivated very, very deeply. It can't just be, oh, I just want to lose some weight. I mean, maybe some people they can do that, but for me, it's like I have to be really motivated. So, like, if I was supposed to go get my blood drawn yesterday morning to find out if the things that I've been doing the last 2 months have had any effect on my ferritin. We've had an ice storm, and so I rescheduled for this morning because the weather was supposed to get better, and then it did not warm up as fast as it was supposed to, and so I could not go. So I have a rescheduled for tomorrow. So it's like if I go in tomorrow and I get my results and it's like worse or the same as it was, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like I would be motivated to do it, and I might do it, like go full carnivore and eat the liver and like do all the things, but that's a pretty extreme case. Like I've been working for a year and a half trying to figure this out, and nothing, like all the normal things, like you start Googling what to do about being low iron. There's a whole list of things. And it's amazing when you post a video about being low iron, and the people that are just like, well, if you just take
You're
vitamin
anemic.
C, you just take vitamin C, it raises your iron. And I'm like that's the first thing that pops up when you Google iron deficiency. And it's like, you think I didn't know that? You think I didn't try it? Like,
Oh, I would say, wow, I'm canceling my internet access and I'm only texting you henceforth because clearly you have all the answers and I don't need
all,
Google anymore. Ta-da!
all the information. I was thinking about going through the comments on that last video I did. It's gotten like 13,000 views. And so there's a ton of comments. And
Yeah.
it's like the list of things that are like everyone, and if anyone has given me advice, like there's good advice in there. Like it's not bad stuff.
Yeah.
There's some really valid stuff and people sharing their own experience, which I love, like this worked for me. But
That
like
is good.
the amount of different things that are suggested, like this is the thing that's going to fix you. If you just eat liver in the morning and don't drink coffee, like if you just give up coffee, if you just like, it would be really amusing just to like have a bullet point list of like the 100 things that are suggested.
Well,
to
and I
do.
think it would be super fun to have that and then have every video linked of when you tried that exact thing. Like, hey, you told me to stop drinking coffee. Look, I've got this one and 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 this one. All of those. where I
hey,
discussed
guess
how I
what?
stopped drinking coffee.
I stopped drinking coffee and my ferritin dropped 36 points.
I feel like you've got a whole new trajectory for 2024 for all your content. You need to stop all things and only focus.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
like, I would have a really good time playing this game, to be honest.
Just debunk everything that everyone suggests to you and be like, I tried this. This is what happened. This is your whole 2024 calendar.
Yes, I mean, I totally could. And honestly, like, because I have been considering doing the carnivore experiment and seeing if that makes a difference. And there's like part of me that's like, I really hope that works. Like, I just want something to work. Then there's another part of me that's like, I just want to be able to tell these people in the comment, I did, and this is exactly what my lab work did, you know. So anyways,
Yeah.
I'm torn between those. But yeah.
Yeah, I had the perfect reason to go super strict carnivore with liver. I did the liver in the morning, super strict lion diet. No, at first there was no salt, no butter, no nothing. And it was to keep me out of the mental institute. I had a very good reason to do it. And I did it wholeheartedly. And I truly believed it was going to fix me to the point where I made myself crazy because I couldn't eat and physically my body wouldn't let me swallow anymore. But I was so convinced that it was going to fix me. It was going to save me. So
you were trying to stay out of the mental institution and it gave you mental problems.
Isn't that it's just no, that never.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Without the coffee.
Yeah.
A little too ironic.
Yeah, I really do think.
Tiffany says, I've been struggling a bit with a streak of migraines the last 3 days. Weather is probably triggering them, but salty seems to be helping. That is amazing.
That's exciting.
Yes.
I was sick for a solid 5 days.
Oh, yes.
I had a fever for 4 of it, and that's why I missed last week's live stream. And the whole thing, like, I just kept drinking salty after salty after salty after salty. And initially I thought that Citrus Splash was kind of like the lowest man on the totem pole for me. And while it's still kind of not my exact favorite, I was able to make my way without any issues through the Citrus Splash stash that I've got.
See, I still can't drink any electrolytes at all.
Not
Every
any.
time I do, my ankles and my feet blow up like watermelons.
That's crazy.
Speaking
Every
of,
time, I think it's the
Mondo Melon
potassium,
is amazing.
but I don't know. Oh,
Maybe.
it hurts
Maybe.
so much. I mean, they turn the color of my shirt, and I have to like lay with my feet elevated. It's horrible. I can't take any kind of electrolyte at all. So I'm like, which is why I'm cycling right now. A little bit less carbs. Gonna go back up to the carbs because I can't do. I can't.
Of the carbs that you have tried over the past 6 months in an attempt to regain control over your heart, which have been the ones that you have seen the most improvement by using them?
So I did rice for a good while.
Sure.
But then my hand started falling asleep. And so I backed off the rice and then I went back on the rice and I had a major reaction. So I was like, okay, no rice. That's fine. Honestly, I think the winter squashes
Sure.
were like the best. If I did like a sweet potato, I would do like a half a sweet potato and never the skin because that's where most of the oxalates is in the skin. So I would do like a sweet potato. Acorn squash actually helped immensely. Pumpkin was another one that I would just I would make something, or like one of the dogs ate something that they shouldn't. So I had to break out the can of pumpkin and give them pumpkin and bone powder. And I would open the can of pumpkin and I would smell it and I would start drooling. And I was like, I'm going to assume that maybe I need some pumpkin. So I remember there was a point in time where I would eat, it was probably like a half a cup of pumpkin. And I would add in some butter and some brown swerve and some cinnamon and stuff like that. And I would eat that. That I think had a huge impact on me balancing my electrolytes. Because the rice, it started causing joint pains and things like that. So I had to
squashes sound way more appetizing than rice.
Mm-hmm.
They have flavor.
Right? But yeah, so I think the winter squashes honestly made the biggest difference.
Did you try like pure sugars like honey and stuff like that?
Oh yes, I did bring in honey, because a lot of our homemade remedies for getting sick have honey in them. So like my
Yeah.
homemade cough syrup has honey in it, and then
Yep.
my elderberry syrup has honey in it. So I did bring honey back. That definitely could have made a difference. I seem to do pretty good with honey. On this next keto stint, I'm planning on keeping honey in just because I'm so nervous. Like I'm so nervous about going back to the heart problems again. And so I'm like, I don't drink it every day, but when we get sick, and it was so hard because when I got sick, I'm always thinking, well, sugar's bad. Sugar makes you sicker. You can't eat the sugar. But then I'm like, okay, for so long, people have used honey in elderberry syrup and all these things that are supposed to make you better. So I had to just try it. And most of the time we can get over anything in like 2 days, maybe 3 days. Because we hit it so hard with all of my homemade natural stuff now, which involves a lot of honey. Maple syrup, not really my favorite. Ironically, I have maple trees and I could tap it myself and make it myself. I prefer honey. I even did regular white sugar just to see. I was like, you know what? We'll try it. That almost gave me like this empty, hollow feeling.
Oh, weird.
It was like, I just feel like, I don't know, that it's the best way I could describe it, was the empty, hollow feeling. So I did try that. I think I tried pretty much everything. I can't do potatoes, like regular white potatoes. They gum up my brain.
Oh.
Can't do those. I did try someone, a friend of mine was like, have you ever tried Heritage, Einkorn, organic wheat? And because, I can't do the wheat. And I was like, no, I haven't. And they were like, I will make you a loaf of bread. Try it. Because I'm really curious. And so I did. I tried it. The very first day, my neck seized up.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, maybe it was just an overreaction. So I ate it again. And it never really got any better. So I still don't do wheat.
Yeah, I've gotten the Einkorn for the kids because they love to bake, and we've talked about this. Like, do I just say no? And like, you can only make keto things, which they don't love to spend their time on making keto things. Like, they like to bake other stuff. And I was like, what do I?
Chemistry class, Mom.
Exactly.
So I compromised and I got them this Einkorn flour, and it's supposed to be better and it's supposed to be less gluten and all that, but it's still a grain. Like, so if you're highly sensitive, which my kids are not, thankfully, which is why I allow it. But if you're highly sensitive, like, it's still a grain. It still has the gluten. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So I've probably tried almost everything almost once. And winter squashes would probably still be my favorite to stick with.
Well, and the nice thing to know about that is like, it's not going to be as adulterated as grain, obviously, or even rice. And then B, like if you were still trying to maintain some level of lower carb, it still could be easily integrated in without a major kerfluffle.
Yeah, without it totally pushing me over the top. Although I did figure out, because I tried almost everything once, corn. I do great on corn.
Weird.
Well, aren't you part Native American?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Probably. Actually, yes. Yes, I think so.
There's your answer.
I did great on corn, and I was
like, ancestrally appropriate.
Pemmican and corn, new diet.
I still do eat my pemmican every single morning. But
that's awesome.
I've added a few things to it.
If I could interject for just a moment, I need to get going here in the next few minutes, but I thought that with Jared and Chris have made a request, and then they seconded that request for a response to a question. If we could maybe answer that one real quick.
Jeff's favorite salty flavor.
Yeah. Has he picked one?
No. Jeff thinks all electrolyte flavors taste the same. That is what he has told me. And so he just drinks whatever one he grabs, and he thinks they all taste the same. And he says I asked him if he had tried any of the salty, because I have a little thing with all the electrolytes in it, and he comes and just grabs whatever flavor. And so I asked him, have you tried the salty yet? He's like, I think so.
You should just reserve your less favorite ones for him to consume because he doesn't have any preferences.
Yes, he doesn't really. And so I do that. I like put the ones I don't like as much in the front where I know he's going to grab them.
You're like, here, allow me to reduce your barriers to entry here and put this one right here.
Yeah. And he's happy with it. So it's great.
Good times.
I've asked him before, like, do you like this flavor? Like, try the new grapefruit element. It's delicious. And he's like, it tastes the same as all the other ones. Okay.
I notice a major difference between all the flavors of the electrolytes that I drink, and grapefruit definitely is not on my list of I want to do that again.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's so good.
He can't actually think the spicy.
He doesn't think the spicy ones taste the same, I don't think. And he doesn't love those.
I do like the spicy ones.
Yeah. I should send you my spicy ones because I have some that are just not getting used.
You should cook with the spicy ones.
Of the electrolyte container. He doesn't take them.
See, you cook with the spicy ones. You put them on like shrimp,
cabbage,
or you can do it on chicken, and it makes like a chipotle type chicken. They're really good.
Yeah,
I like making a spicy coleslaw with it.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm gonna just have to do that. So Natalie, she is local here, and we have met up several times now, and she is fantastic.
Fun.
So she's on Instagram, and she was featured on the Carnivore. What was the documentary? Carnivore Revolution, or no?
That's the Cancer Revolution.
No, that's the one where they were all in the house together with Dr. Barry. And
Reversed.
Reversed, yes, she was on Reversed. Anyways, but she's dealing with her own health issues just like we all are. And she says Lion Diet gave me a beef aversion that took 2 months to resolve after adding in other food. We are meant to eat some variety. Yeah. And we were talking last time we met up because she's been buying eggs from us because we've had so many. And we were talking about like January being World Carnivore Month and like wanting to participate with the excitement of it. But then at the same time, it's like, we've narrowed our diet so far already. It's like, is that really the direction that we want to go? Like, no. But yeah, it's
I got the same aversion. I physically couldn't swallow. My throat started constricting and it would try to come out my nose.
Yeah. And because I've had this, thought, like, because it's hard to adjust to carnivore. Like, you have cravings like you do with whenever you cut out anything. And like in my mind, I'm like, oh, if I just push past it, I'll get over it. But there's something about the carnivore and people talk about the wall of doom or, whatever with carnivore, where you do get to the point where you're just like, I cannot eat
no more
meat.
Yeah, I choose not to eat.
And that, that takes several weeks or a month or whatever. And then maybe like, it doesn't resolve quickly is what I'm trying to say. And it's like, so if you're like sign on to do it, like you're signing on for a long time until it gets to the point of being easy. If you do ever get to that point. But so the aversion is just that's the hard thing about thinking about doing the experiment that I am thinking about doing, because I'm just like, I know it's not just going to be like a few days of keto flu and then smooth sailing. Because a lot of people will talk about that, where it's like, oh, you'll get to the point where you just crave meat and that's the only thing you want to eat. And that's the only thing that looks like food to you. And I'm just like, I've experienced different, and I've seen too many other people, having aversions and like hitting that wall of doom and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I can't believe it anymore. But anyways, we should wrap it up here because we've been on for over an hour and we all have children. Speaking of balance and taking care of our children and spending quality time, we should probably keep it to an hour.
Accurate.
Yeah.
And I got appointments to be at.
Yes. So thank you everyone for joining us. I apologize that we ignored the chat as much as we did, but really wanted to hear from Amy and how she was doing. And we will be back. Lindsay and I will be back next week, same time, same place.
Hopefully.
And,
We're going to go with it.
yeah. So we'll just see you then. Thanks so much for joining us, Amy.
Thank you for having me. And hopefully I'll
Bye,
see you next week
Amy.
online.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. She's around again.